meet the wrong people by accident on the road this festive season. That's the message from the Road Accident Fund. It's joining forces with emergency services who will be undoubtedly working overtime these holidays. Now, these first responders see firsthand how crashes ruin lives and tear families apart. Now, through this campaign, they're getting a chance to tell their tragic stories in an effort to encourage motorists to drive more responsibly. Well, to tell us more, we're joined by Joburg EMS spokesperson and firefighter Robert Molautsi, paramedic Benedict Ledwaba, JMPD officer Kolani Fihla, and the Road Accident Fund's Phumelela Dlomo. Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm ready for any emergency today because you're all here. Anything can happen. It'll be okay. Thanks for your time this morning. Let's start with you, Phumelela. The Road Accident Fund, this is your campaign. Why this campaign? What's your thinking behind it?
Well, we launched a campaign called Always Remember about 2 years ago. So we were highlighting different things during that campaign, but we thought this would be an opportunity to take it to a different level. As you know, most people, when they go on holiday, they go there to meet different people that haven't seen in a very long time. Now, we are saying, as you go to that particular destination, going there and coming back, make sure that you meet the original people that you're meant to meet. You're not meant to meet any of these guys that are sitting around here. So that's basically us taking this and looking at a different angle. But also we're saying always remember, which is what the campaign is all about, that even these people, they could be spending time with their families, but they have to be there and basically sitting and waiting for any eventualities or any emergencies that may happen. So we're saying if people are responsible and they're taking it upon themselves to be safe on the road, they aren't going to meet any of these people, but they make sure they meet the right type of people. However, should you then be in a situation, we will be there as the Road Accident Fund, working with the emergencies to make sure that we're able to be the consoling arm of government. But the most important thing also that people must remember is that these people are here to actually tell the real stories in terms of what do they encounter when they're on the road, and we thought we should use this platform to do that.
Well, I want to hear about that, and let's start with we'll start with Benedict on that end. Benedict, I mean, I don't envy you, paramedics, and I think you know there's the stuff you have to deal with, and I'm sure it's worse than what we see on those TV series. So tell us about it. Obviously, a time of dread because you don't want to get that call at this time of year, do you? For anybody, the difficult parts for you. Tell us what you've seen, what you've had to deal with in your career.
You know, obviously, around this time of the year, it's always difficult for all South Africans. These accidents, they affect them emotionally, mentally, some of them physically. You know, as much as it's a job for me, you know, seeing people die on a day-to-day basis, you know, as a result of being reckless and negligent, it's not really a nice feeling. I remember very well, I think it was around about 2 years ago, just before, on the M1, just before the Greystone off-ramp, there was a van with a couple of construction workers at the back. But from what I was gathering from one of the guys who actually survived the incident, he actually said that the driver was actually under the influence of alcohol when he hit the barrier, and the vehicle rolled a couple of times. And you can only just imagine, you know, what happened. But at the same time, you know, it's a freeway, and then you've got vehicles coming from back. I mean, if I remember very well, I think we had 3 dead people on scene there. The rest of them were critical, but they were transported to the rest of the hospital around Joburg. So it can get a bit hectic around this time of the year. I've personally lost a colleague as a result of a car accident, and it wasn't really because it was his fault.
On duty or?
No, he was off duty, and it wasn't really his fault at all. But, you know, it's one of those things that when it hits home, it's also very, very, very difficult. But it can get a bit stressful around this time of the year. I think it's very important that the road users, they must remember that you're actually responsible for your behavior and your safety on the road. You know,
And how do you keep your emotions out of that? I'm very curious to know. I mean, when you get there and you hear, okay, this guy had been drinking, I'm sure you have to separate to be able to function and do your job and try and save the lives of the people who are on the scene. But surely a part of you goes like, you know, why, how, and you probably feel something towards the person who's responsible for all of this.
It can be a bit frustrating, but at the end of the day, I'm a professional. I still have to go out there, carry out my duties, and do my best. And especially because there's a lot of incidents where, you know, alcohol is involved. There's no doubt about it. But, you know, of lately, what's been on the rise as well is driving and texting. It's actually quite alarming. And I mean, every second vehicle that I come across on the road, the individual is actually, you know, driving at the same time.
And are people dying because of this?
Exactly. And it's really, really concerning. And I think people should really, you know, I try and discourage that. Actually, should be completely discouraged. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, they do something else, we do something else. We tell them not to do it, but, you know, it's a bit of being irresponsible at the end of the day. So that's why our message this time around with the Road Accident Fund is that, you know, always remember you're responsible for your safety on the road and your behavior on the road, which is quite important.
Okay, well, Tolani, you're the guy we don't want to see flagging us down. We don't want you jumping out of the bushes and going, you're that guy we don't want to see, okay? But you obviously you respond. When an accident happens, you're on the scene. What's your experience as a JMPD officer? I mean, you're not tasked with saving that life, but you have to deal with everything else.
Yeah.
What's it
Okay,
like for you?
I've attended many accidents, some fatal, but the one that's hit me hard was one of a young boy, about 12, 13 years. He was crossing one of Soweto's busy roads called Klipspruit Valley Road. People call it Killer Road. And unfortunately, he was fatally hit and he lost his life. And he was coming back from soccer practice. And it really hit me hard, and it's terrifying. Really
when you know
terrifying.
that that's the kind of scene you're going to, what do you have to say to yourself? What do you have to do? How do you steel yourself for that?
Basically, you have to lock your heart and deal with the job, because if you don't do it, then who will? Yeah.
Okay. Robert, you deal with all other emergencies also. You're firefighter. You have to talk about these things, and you have to tell people like us what happened, and just the gory details as well. What for you is the hardest part?
Yeah, I think it's mostly, witnessing incidents where, young kids are, losing their loved ones, especially parents, to tell young kid that unfortunately you've lost your dad or your mother. It's very painful. And also incidents which involve, young kids. And most of those crashes we're talking about, or motor vehicle accidents we're talking about here, they are preventable. Accidents out there, they ruin life, so they shatter dreams, they tear families apart. So it's very important for us, as people who are driving out there, motorists out there, to not to consume alcohol and drive. We have to salute the Road Accident Fund for this initiative of inviting us to come here and share our stories, because we are the people who are responding to those emergencies. So we're just hoping that our motorists out there, they will always remember that their holiday destination is not going to be a hospital casualty ward. They need to go out there, enjoy themselves, and get to meet the people they miss a lot, because most of the people are maybe at work throughout the year.
Yeah,
they don't get to see their family members. They only see them once in a year or so. So they need to arrive to their various destinations.
Everybody, Robert, has that one story, that they tell. For you, what's that
okay,
one story?
my one, it's my colleague who actually lost his life, who was actually crashed by a speeding motorist on the just in Midrand here. He was on duty. He was attending to a motor vehicle accident, and unfortunately, a speeding driver didn't obey the rules of the road. Of course, firstly, he didn't even see the road cones, which was actually protecting the scene. The ambulance was there with the lights on, but unfortunately he drove through over that emergency scene.
That must have been very difficult.
Yeah, and it's a very a painful situation to witness your colleague, and there's nothing you can do. You're just witnessing his lifeless body on the floor there, while he was, the worst part is that he was trying to save the life of other people. So, there's a lot of people who are losing their lives out there unnecessarily so, and they don't get a chance to share the stories we're talking about now. So, it's very simple out there. That beer bottle which one might be having now, because I'm sure people are just drinking almost every day now, because it's the festive season. So, we're saying that there's a whole lot of resources which people can use. There's no excuse. There's Uber, there's taxi. You can get a bus. Yeah, get a bus. There's, if you vehicle, she's obeying the rules of the road.
Just be sensible.
She's exactly. Your drinking is going to affect the other person who's obeying the rules of the road. And so I'm just hoping that we will be able to, reduce the number of those fatalities. The Road Accident Fund, the least they can do is to protect the residents or the motorists out there, and this is the best way of preventing those accidents, which we know that during this time of the there's a high volume of people who are moving from point A to B, and those accidents are likely to happen.
Okay, well, I want to get a last word from each of you. Benedict, for you, I mean, knowing that when you get up in the morning, you're most likely to find somebody dead, try and save someone's life and not be able to do that. What is it that you have to say to yourself at the beginning and the end of every day so that you can go back the next day and do it all over again?
You know, if I had a choice, I wouldn't be doing this, to be quite honest, because I don't like...
Why do you do it?
I love it. I've got a passion for it. But, you know, but I don't like going out there and having to declare people and all that. But you know, it's a passion that I've got because you want to help people in need. But I don't want to meet the road users out there under these circumstances. That's what I'm trying to get the message across. But it's a job and it's pure passion and I enjoy it. You know, it's fulfilling because you're making a difference in someone's life. But you know, someone has to do it at the end of the day. Someone has to do it. I think that is the thing. So it's pure passion, and I love what I'm doing, and I want to make a difference on a day-to-day basis.
And Polani, you same question.
Just as Benedict, I'd say it's a calling. I've been an officer for 10 years now, and it's been dreadful. But at the same time, giving out this message in conjunction with RAF to tell people that always remember to take care when you're on the road, especially in the festive season, and of course you don't want to meet us by accident.
We don't want to meet you. Yeah, we don't want to meet you. We want to invite you here to talk about it. Robert, and you?
Yeah, it's not, we're saying as much as we're prepared, I mean, it's festive season, as much as we're prepared and we're ready to serve our communities out there, we will prefer not to meet everyone there. Let's meet somewhere in a party, not in a motor vehicle accident. And we're hoping that our motorists out there, they will always remember, to get to their holiday destination safely and get to meet their loved ones safely.
Okay, Pumela, last word from you to the people out there getting on the roads today.
Yes, absolutely. We call ourselves the consoling arm of government, but we would rather not meet these people by accident. What we'd rather do is actually make sure that people get to their destinations. Hence, we are spreading this message. But the most important thing, should you then be involved in a crash, our details and people who are on standby are available in our website, and we in all social media platforms will be able to assist you during this period. But we'd rather have the 1,500 reduced this year, which was the number of the people that passed on during festive season, reduced or even halved. But we just need to make sure that we change behavior. Okay,
gentlemen, thank you very much for coming in, and thank you for the work that you do and for going out there and doing it every day. And I wish you all the best over the festive season. I hope, like Pumela says, we can cut down on the carnage that we have actually seen. Thank you very much for your time.